Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to go at modelling the Majora's Mask from Legend of Zelda. So I'm just going to insert a canvas, go to insert and canvas, and then on my desktop somewhere I've got my reference image folder, and I'm going to bring it in here. So I'm going to bring it onto this front plane, make it quite a bit bigger, make it like 10 times bigger, something like that. Bring it up and make sure it's just in the center and hit OK. So what we're going to do is let's start a sketch and hit L for line, come from the center and come straight up. So we're going to model half of it and then mirror it across. So then let's go to arc and 3-point arc. We want to try and keep this as smooth as a transition as we can do. Otherwise it'll look a bit weird when we come to texturing it later. Like that. Let's hit escape to get rid of that, and let's just turn the canvas off for a second. As we see, we've got a little bit of drawing there, so we use fillet just to smooth that round. And same here, it's a little bit pointy, so we're going to fillet. And the rest of it here is pretty smooth. I don't think it'll, yeah, we won't do a fillet there. We don't need it. Okay, so we've got the general layout there. Let's mirror that across. So to create and mirror, I'm going to double click to do all of those, then just deselect that line and then select that as the mirror line. So then we've got our general shape of our mask. I'm going to hit finish sketch. You can hit E to extrude, or you can go to create and extrude there, and little keyboard shortcut E. Grab both sides of those. And for now, I don't know how big it's going to be, but we'll be able to find out later. So I'm just going to drag it out a little bit first, like that. So what we want to do is round off so it's more mask-like. So I'm going to go to fillet here, or modify fillet, or keyboard shortcut F. So I'm going to hit F on my keyboard, grab that surface and just drag it in something like that. And then hit OK. And then what we're going to do as well is flip it over to the side. Then let's hit shell and drag that in a little bit as well. Something like that. We will alter how thick we make this later when we actually end up doing like the spikes, but for now we're just going to do the details on the actual surface itself. So like basically like these sort of details. And again, what we're going to do is mirror it across these. If I turn off the body, see what's going on. So these details here we can all model inside of Fusion, but the stuff that's like hand painted, we're actually going to do that in a texturing software afterwards anyway. So let's create a sketch. First thing, let's create an eye. So let's go to circle, or you can either go circle there, create circle, and I'm going to do center circle, so it'll be a C. I'm going to come in the middle, drag it out like that. I'm going to do another one. About there. And then I'm going to create arc, 3-point arc. Let's go to the top of there. Drag that in. Same on this side. Like that. Like that. Then I'm going to hit T on my keyboard for trim, or it's under modify and trim. So I'm going to cut off those bits, and now I want to fill it to make that bit of a smoother transition again. Let's grab those and enter. This side, yeah. If it is a smooth transition, a lot of the time Fusion will say, "Oh, there's no need," so we're not going to. So this one here, this one up here, I got this fillet can't be created because there was no need. Whereas this one, you see it's kind of a bit pointy, so I click on those two. And a lot of the time, Fusion will try and tell you what it thinks the best case is. You can always alter that if you want to, but it does normally, if I redo that, give you what it thinks the best one will be. Okay, so we've got that. Let's finish sketch. So let's grab this and we'll create our eye. So I'm going to take this and drag it up. I'm going to change this to new body. Because then what we're going to do, first of all, is give us a quick save. So let's do, give it a name, so it's safe. I'm going to fill it. Again, fill it up here, modify, fill it, or keyboard shortcut F. Grab that surface, let's drag that in so it becomes round like that. Then let's create a sketch. Let's do offset, drag that in. And hit E to extrude, grab that surface, drag down. And then I'm going to create another sketch. Let's offset that, drag in, and hit E, grab that again, and then we can drag it up again. But I'm not going to drag it up, I'm going to click on this surface here, and I'll bring it up like that. And click join. And then maybe we'll just do a slight fillet just to round that off just a bit, and then we'll do the same. Like that. So we've got our eye. I'm going to bring back this sketch here. So we want to have this line. So I'm going to create and pipe. So I'm going to start selecting, and it should select most of it. There we go. I'm going to change this. Oh, in fact, there's one thing I want to do first before I do that as well. So let's go back to this sketch. Let's edit. And we want to fillet those a bit so they're a bit more rounded. Something like that. Do the same here as well. Let's fillet. Hitting keyboard shortcut F for fillet doesn't work in sketching. So if I was to hit F now, you notice it jumps out of sketching and into solids, which is why you can't use the keyboard shortcut for fillet in sketching, unfortunately. Okay, now let's go to create and pipe. I'm going to grab all of that. I'm going to change that to new body. And then we're going to bring that smaller. Let's try a few different things. Let's try 2. It looks about right, actually. Yeah, okay, we can always change that size later. It's not a big problem. So now what we want to do is let's do this big one here. I'm going to turn that sketch off. Let's create a sketch. And then I'm going to use create an arc, a 3-point arc. In fact, before I do that, let's just do an L for line. I'm going to come straight up the middle. Then I'm going to go back and create my arc. Just sort of trace over this as much as I can do. Jump between lines, so L for line. And arcs tool. Turn this body off so we see what's going on a bit better. Work our way around, nearly done. Again, we will smooth these out. In a second, so let's fill it, and hopefully if we click those, it will let us join those together. Enter. And then it's a case of trying to make sure we've got smooth transitions. We don't want to have one there. But maybe with the numbers. We'll change that in a second. Let's come around here. Here. Oh, I didn't think it was going to do one, but it did. Let's. Okay. So let's just finish off this one here. Should do, we don't need to fill it there. Okay. So if I turn body back on and turn the cameras off a second, we want this to be projected onto the surface, but obviously because it's a curved surface, it's not going to be all the way around. So what we can actually do is project it onto those surfaces. So what we're going to do is create another sketch. So let's create a sketch there, and then what we can do is create, project, and then project a surface. So it says faces, or project, so let's select all these surfaces we want to project it to. And then curves, double click all those curves there. And then hit OK. You'll see if I turn that sketch off now, that curve has made it all the way across there. Now annoyingly this has gone there, so what we're going to do is I'm going to do it, then I'll split that body along here. But for now, let's just go to create. In fact, let me just show you. So if I scroll down now, or rotate around, that you can see it's actually following the geometry of the shape. So let's go to create, and oh, we need to finish sketch first. Let's finish sketch. Create, pipe, hold down control, work our way around. I'm going to change this to new body, and it's 2mm like the other one is, but we'll have a look and see how it looks in terms of whether we want to make it thicker or not. Keep working our way around. Let's have a little look. As I said, we're going to split this one off here and sort of extend it. Down a bit. So in fact, 1 second, let's just go back and edit this sketch here. That's it, L for line. Come straight off there, and then trim that bit off. Okay, let's now see how that's affected everything. Project to surface. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's do that again. So create a sketch, create and project to surface. Let's then grab these faces. Then let's grab that and hit OK. Turn that off so we can see. There you go, we've got a better result there. Yeah, I'm just going to end where we want it to end. Okay, that's better. Right, now let's go back and do pipe. Change that to new body, and again it's still at 2 for now, which is fine. We'll have a look and see if you want to change that thickness in a little bit. So as I'm doing this, I'm holding down control. So if I were to try and click another one now, it wouldn't let me. If I hold down control, grab it. Also won't let me, so if the curve goes there, it won't let me continue if I click on this part. It has to be like one continuous curve, basically. So let's just keep going around. There we go. Okay, so I've got that as 2. I kind of feel it needs to be a bit thicker. Let's try 3, 4. I feel like 4 is better. Let's do that. Yeah, 4 is better. Then let's go and see if we can edit this one. How does it look if we do 4 for that? Okay. There we go. In the canvas last, we see what we've got going on. We've now got those details. What I'm going to do is let's just fill it around here. So I'm going to go to fill it, grab that and just drag it up just to end it like that. So now we're going to mirror across. So let's go to the sketch we created there. So we've got this midline here. It's going to go to construct and plane at an angle. Grab that and change it to 90 degrees. So you can see it's here. Let's go to create mirror. Bodies. So I'm going to grab all of these bodies, mirror plane. I'm going to grab this one here. I'm going to leave it as new body first because I'm going to want to join these together in a second. I'm going to hit V visibility to turn that off. You can see it's still following it how we want it to do. Now here we've got a bit of an issue, so what we're going to do is let's combine those two and then let's create loft. Where are you? Loft. Let's loft these two profiles. Okay. I'm going to turn off that body so they don't join together there. Let's just see how we're looking. Do we maybe need to fill it? Those, let's see. See how that's looking. There you go, good. So we've now got most of the modeling side of it done actually, so let's give that a quick little save. Then let's turn on our camera, so we want to have our spikes. So what we're going to do is go to create and go to cylinder. I'm going to comment this plane here, just to drag it about the same down. I'm trying to match it up down to roughly to here. And then all I'm going to do for now is let's just drag it so it's taller. And what I can do is hit OK. Take that, right click, move copy. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees. OK. Move copy. Bring that into position, roughly where I want it. And then I'm just going to grab that, Control C, Control V, bring that one up here for this one. Again, we're going to mirror these across, so we're only going to model these 4 and this one up here. So I'm going to leave that there. Now obviously we want to make it more spike-like, so what we're going to do is go to Modify and Draft. So it says Pull Direction, which is essentially where do you want it to hinge from. So I want it to hinge from this one. Faces these. So now if I have to grab this widget, You see, I can make it more or less spiky. So if I had the pull direction as the other bit, essentially it would have inverted spikes, which is not what I want. So I want it to be this side here. So I want it to be a little bit smaller, I feel. Have I got incremental? No, I don't. Okay. Yep, that looks about right. I'm going to take that, right click, move into position a bit more, rotate. There we go, and then I'm going to Control C, Control V, copy and paste these into position. I'm not worried if I'm not matching the reference exactly in terms of like the size of these spikes. Because obviously the reference image is quite blurred as it is anyway, so not a massive deal. As long as I've got it close to where I want it. C, Control V. Like that. And we'll do the same here. So let's go to modify draft. Pull direction is going to be there. Pull faces is going to be there. Well, these are taller spikes. Not quite that tall though. Something. Let's do that. That's pretty much in position we want it. Now, obviously, if I rotate around, it's nowhere near where we want it to be. Let's just turn canvas off. Let's move copy, bodies. Let's grab all of these. Then all we need to do, take these, move into position. Like that. This is why we didn't know how thick we want to make the body, because obviously we want to make it so the spikes fit. Now all I'm going to check for at the minute is I want to make sure they're intersecting, so I'm going to go to press pull, grab faces and just drag them in. Okay, so that they are all intersecting. I'm just going to do a little bit extra just to make super sure. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is let's press pull, grab that surface, and drag, just so you make sure that we've got our spikes covered. And then hit OK. So now we want to split those spikes, we haven't got those intersections, so we're going to go to combine, target body, that's like that, tool body, we'll select that, and hit keep. Otherwise, if we didn't, it would end up, so we're going to set the cut and go to keep tool, hit OK. So you see that spike there, to click on this one, rotate around, click on this one here, it lets me. There we go, here. So I can remove that one. So I'm going to right click and remove. Get in the habit of removing rather than deleting, because then if you like reference something like further down in the past, you end up getting loads and loads of errors. So I'm going to just do that for all of these. So target body, tool body, that. So set to cut and keep tool. If I don't keep the tool, by the way, it'll end up deleting my mask, which I don't want. So I'm going to click OK. Just going to do the same for all of these. It should always remember the last like setup you did, so it'll always remember cut, it'll always remember keep tool, unless you change it again. Okay, so now I can just turn off the mask, and you can see they're cut anyway. But let's just grab those, right click, remove, right click, remove, right click, remove, grab that, right click, remove. So now if I turn the mask on, you see that they intersect. Well, they don't intersect, they match up perfectly. So I'm going to mirror all of that across. So we've already got our mirror plane set up, which is this one here. So let's go to create mirror, bodies, let's grab those, mirror plane, select, and grab that one. Select as new body, hit OK, and then click on that. And again, you can either turn off with the eyeball, or an easier way is click that and hit V for visibility, and it disappears as well. So we've got most of that done. Let's just fillet these edges slightly, just to round it off. Now, as I said, if you look at the canvas, I'm going to give us a quick save as well, just to make sure. If you turn on the canvas and turn the bodies off, as I said, like the colours and all this sort of thing, those we're going to end up texturing when we actually like painting it when we texture it. But things like these holes and things like that we can do in here as well. These ones we'll do in the texturing software as well. So let's just turn back on body, right sketch. I'm just going to do a line down the middle there. I'm going to hit C circle, drag out, because I want them all to be the same size. I'm going to just grab that, CV. So Control C, Control V, copy and paste, bring it down. Then I'm going to grab that and create a rectangular pattern. And then we want 4 of those. Okay. Then let's hit E to extrude. Grab those 4. Just rotate so what's going on. Just drag them in. Like that. Turn off our canvas. I'm going to do a small chamfer, I feel. Let's do those. Let's try back 0.5 so that looks. Okay. Then let's mirror those across as well. So create mirror, turn on that mirror plane again. And this time I'm going to change that to features. Let's grab the extrude and the chamfer. Then let's grab that mirror plane. Okay. Again, let's turn that off. So in terms of the modeling side of things, we are done. I'm going to give that a quick save. Now, as it stands, as far as I've tried, Fusion's texturing isn't really at the stage where I'd be able to do this particularly well. So what I am going to do, obviously in a lot of these videos I've done different texturing software, so I've played with Substance Painter, Marmoset and things like that. I have also recently got hold of 3D Coat Textura, which I'm going to do for this part because it's perfect for this type of thing and it works really well with Fusion anyway. But what you do need to do is add some like better prep work. So what I'm going to do is just add some materials, just so essentially it's easier to apply materials to it for real life when I do it in the software as well. So you don't need to make it look as realistic as it needs to be. So all I'm going to do is let's just take some materials. I am going to somewhat get them close, but that's just because I want to more than anything. Drag that on there. And change the color of that so it should be like a purpley sort of color. So let's grab that. I'm going to make it like a dark purpley sort of color. more bluey than purple, but oh well. There we go. And then what else do we want? So we want these to be black. So let's do like a in fact, do that, make it not shiny, so make it more matte like. So replace those and then change the base. And the only reason we're doing this now is you don't need to do this when you take it over to texture but it just means it's really, really easy to apply it to specific faces and bodies when you're done. Okay, and then let's do the eyes as well. So we'll do like a, make this emissive a little bit. And again, just simply because just do the spikes. Okay, so that's pretty much the prep work done for taking that over to Textura. So I'll look at render, but again, not really relevant to how it's going to look. So we're going to take it over and texture it properly in a second. But we've just added those material IDs just so when we can texture it later, it's a lot easier to just apply the material straight onto it. Last thing to do then is just give that a save, go to File, Export. I'll put that onto my desktop. And then what you can do is either OBJ or FBX. I'm going to do it in OBJ. FBX and OBJ will both work, it's absolutely fine, but I'm going to do OBJ, hit export. And what we're going to do then is I'm going to jump over to 3D Coat Texture to have a go at texturing it. Okay, so now that we're in 3D Coat, what we're going to do is go ahead to Paint UV Map Mesh. And we click on this button here, then we can bring in our model. So this is our Majoras mask. So if you have used any of the 3D modeling software like say Maya or Blender, you might know a little bit about UV unwrapping. It's not something you have to do inside of Fusion, but essentially it's how do you make your material applied to the actual model itself. If you imagine like a 3D object being kind of flattened down into a 2D shape, so essentially like a tissue box or a cereal box. Obviously it's a cube, but if you were to like flatten it down into like a 2D net, it's that sort of theory. Now, normally, if I was going to go from Fusion into say like Substance Painter or Marmoset, I'd have taken it into Maya, unwrapped it and done it that way, but 3D Coat will let it do that for you. So if you come here and just make sure you've got auto mapping selected, and just make sure as well you've got Z up coordinate system ticked as well. Now automatically that won't be ticked, so you just make sure you've got that ticked. Then down at the bottom here, treat materials as separate textures. This is why when we're in Fusion I applied those other materials to it, just so it's dead easy to separate everything. If you've already got material selected, it will have that ticked off. If you left it blank, it'll be unticked. So that's all we've done so far. So it's just make sure auto mapping is on. That should be automatic anyway. Z up, ticked, and then texture treat materials as separate textures. Just click OK. And now it's going to basically figure out what those UV maps need to look like, depending on the kind of PC or laptop you're on, how much power it's got. It'll vary in time-wise. So we've now got our model in like that. Now, if you didn't click that Z up coordinates one, what will have happened is it would have been upside down and flat. So basically it would have been like that. And there's no way to actually just rotate the model. Obviously you could rotate the model like this, but with the lighting it would have weird effects. Now down here is where you can see our UV maps. Now it's quite hard to see because it's kind of grey on grey. So the first thing we're going to do is come here to textures and just go to calculate occlusion, and then just leave all that as everything and click OK. And what this is going to do is calculate shadows. So you see now we've got more shadow effects. So basically the model is casting shadows on itself in certain positions, and you can see it's starting to have an effect down here in the texture editor. And then the next thing we're going to do is calculate curvature and click OK. And as it says, that's going to calculate the curves that you've got inside your model as well. Like that. Now it does automatically turn off. That's the cavity map here. Like that. Excuse me. And ambient occlusion, turn that off and on as well. I'm going to give this a quick save. Go to File and Save. Let's just call that. So we got it saved. So basic controls first. Hold down Alt and middle mouse button. It means I can pan it around like that. If I just left mouse button, hold down left mouse button and click, I can rotate. And if I hold down right mouse button and move my mouse in and out, I can zoom in and out like that. Okay. So what we're going to do first of all is we've got all our layers here. As I said, you can turn your layers on. It works pretty similar to how Photoshop works. All right. So what we're going to do is I've got my materials here. So yours may look slightly different. So you can just grab any of these and bring them out to however you want them to. So you can make them bigger and smaller, depending on what you're after. And same with these as well. So you could choose to sort of take these materials, drag them over wherever you want. So at the minute, all our bodies that we've got here are eyeballs, so we can untick all of those whenever we want them. But because we have applied those materials here, under surface materials on the right hand side, if we want to untick those, these are the ones that we applied different materials to. So that's why it's worth doing, because it's really easy to separate everything like that. All right. So we're going to start by applying materials to the main body. So what I'm going to do is turn off those, so it's just this one that we're going to apply to. I'm going to go to wood, and I'm going to take, I've got a few different ones I've downloaded. Now you can, when you load up 3D Coat, it offers you to say to go to their website, and then you get like 120 credits a month to download free materials as well. So I'm going to select this one, and you get this little preview. Now if I click on this down here, it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like. And then what you can do as well, if you notice it's going, the grain's going the wrong way. I kind of want it to go up and down rather than left to right. If you double click, you can actually start to edit the materials a little bit. So you can come on here and even change the colours if you want to, depending on what you wanted to do. And you can see the effect it's going to start to have. That sort of thing. Like that. You can also add extra layers in. So this is where it's got things like it's got the wear and grain and scratches and all those sorts of things on there. So you can always edit these. Just make sure when you do it, don't save it, because you're going to save over the original. You can either save as new, or what you could always do is right click and duplicate and then create another one from scratch as well. But I'm going to double click on that, because what I actually want to do, there we go, it's here, preferred mapping. At the minute it's cube mapping. So if I go to cube, is it as it is, cylindrical, changes it a little bit more, spherical, definitely don't want, UV mapping, which gives you an idea based on these here. Or what I prefer to do is if you go to from camera, it gives you a preview of what the actual texture looks like up here. If you right click on this little dot here, you can drag this into position, and then you can rotate it around so you can actually dictate properly how you would like it to be applied. So then we've got that. What I'm going to do is go to fill. And if I just click on that body, like that, and then if I close the preview, go cancel, you see it's applied that material on there. Now I want to apply it to the inside as well, so I'm going to do that on both sides. Well, I should have done it on both sides originally, but it's okay. So bring that into position, fill, and then just click on the surface. That's going to undo a second, so I can do it all at the same time. Okay. I'm going to double click, change that to on camera, on fill, and click. I'm going to rotate and roll it around, make sure it's got the other side done. Click on cancel. I can then right click to make that smaller. So I've now applied it to both sides. I can then still turn everything else back on like that, as you can see. Now I'm going to stick with this one for now. First of all, I'm going to add a new layer, so you can do that by just clicking on this plus button here. Now here's where what I can do. I'm going to turn this layer off for now. I'm going to just select a color, and if you look, I've got my reference image on my other screen here. So what I'm going to do is drag it over so you can see. There you go. So this is what I've got on my other screen. So I'm just sort of trying to follow that as much as I can do. I will share a copy of that in the description as well. It won't like this dark purpley sort of color. So we want something like that. And if I go to fill, so I've got fill and select. Oh, wait a minute. I want to click that X, so I've now got no smart material applied. Then if I click, there we go, so I've now got that on both sides. If I turn that layer back on underneath, you can see I've still got that there, but at the minute you can't really see it. So what I can do is I can select this. At the minute it's on standard blend, what I could do is change how you want it to overlay. So I could like overlay, so it kind of soaks through a little bit. And each of these gives slightly different options. So you can do like linear dodge, and you can sort of play around with how you would like it to look. Overlay typically works quite nicely. And this is also, by the way, how you can add things like emissiveness. So it says, yeah, uses emissive and that sort of thing. So it's worth playing around. I haven't really got a good way of explaining how like the definition of each one of these do. For me, it tends to be a bit like trial and error of trying little different bits. So we've got that. So next, I'm going to start doing some painting on the actual inside bit there. So what I'm going to do is let's turn that on there, and then I'm going to add a new layer. Make sure I've not got any material selected. I'm going to change that to red. If I zoom in here, what we want to do, we'll start to paint there. You can see it's starting to paint, but if I turn off those details there, oh, because I'm in it. I'm on fill when we want to be on brush. Okay, so now if I start painting, start to have effect there, but if you look at the minute, it's essentially making it look 3D. Now to turn that off, come up to the top here, depth, I'm going to set that to 0. So now if I just paint, it's not having any actual effect on it. And then if I, for example, let's just paint quickly there and then turn it off so you can see. Starting to paint it a little bit, and then you can do it with more layers to make it darker red. Like that, okay? So let's just start doing that. Now I'm actually going to put symmetry on, so go to symmetry. We've got this down here. I'm going to see symmetry. I'm going to show you the plane you want to do it on. So now if I paint on one side, I'm going to paint it on the second side as well. So I'm going to pick this hard brush here. What we want to do is trying to keep it all as close as you can do it in, and you want to not, if you press once and then press again and go over it, it's going to darken over where you've already done it. So you kind of want to do the whole layer first without lifting up your mouse, so you can get it the same color, also the same like darkness, basically. So it won't be always possible, but you kind of want to do it as much as you can do. Just coming along Okay, so now if I turn those layers off, you can see I've got it on there. And now I'm going to just try and darken it a little bit more, just by going over it a second time. Oh, it's looking. So I might do one more layer. So let's do one more. My depth has gone up slightly, so I'm going to just change that to 0. Okay. So we've got details on there. If we turn everything back on, you see what's going on. Okay, next let's excuse me, add our details to these black lines here. So that would be these ones here. Let's turn symmetry off for now. Let's change that to black. I just want to brush quickly and just brush it over these bits. Okay, let's turn those back on. Now I've realised I'm just going to undo a second. What I should have done is made a new layer, so I'm going to make a new layer, and then we're going to do that again. There we go. So let's go to fill. That change to 0%. There we go. That's better. Now I might decide that I want to have like those wood textures underneath it as well. So what I might do is add a new layer. Let's grab that wood texture again. Turn that off, and then what we can do, let's go to fill. But then let's click on those like that. And if we take that layer and bring it low down, and then do like overlay. So if you zoom in there, you can see that the grain do that standard. This one we want to overlay. You can see that the grain is showing through a little bit. Okay, next let's grab a lighter piece. Let's take like this one, see how it's looking. Got a preview. Yeah, let's take this is why I really like the preview one, because you can click and just sort of see how it's actually going to look. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, and we're going to, like we did before, let's go to from camera. And zoom out. Let's grab this, bring it over into position. Fill. Click. Make sure we've got a new layer. From camera. Okay, and then if we click, then down here is where we're going to want to rotate it, so we make sure the grain's going in the right direction. Bring our preview over here, do the same thing, bring the material over, rotate round. Okay, so we've now got textures on those spikes. Now we're going to start to paint some more details in. So let's turn off. Those, so we see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer. This time I'm going to grab a white. Closer. Make a hard brush again, make it a bit smaller. Turn symmetry on. Just check it's working. Okay, and then let's change that depth to 0 again. Okay, so what we want to do really is something like this. Come in a little bit. Something like that. Now what we can do if we turn all these off is what we could do is go to fill, because we've already got that white selected. If you just click on it, we don't want that depth on, so where's that depth? 0. Click on that, and that will darken it for us. So then if we turn it all back on again, annoyingly we've missed that gap there, so let's go back and just undo that. Control Z, just undo. Let's go back to brush. Okay, and then there's going to be some more white down here. So in this instance, we are going to start about here. Like that. Go over it a couple of times just to darken it. Like that. And there's one other part. Let's turn these spikes off again, which is going to go to about there. So let's something like that. Okay, we'll go over one more time just to try and darken it or lighten it up even. Like that. Okay, probably means I should go over this one a bit as well, I think. Let's turn that off. There we go. Let's do this one more time. Okay, looks better. Sound a lot more like the reference. Next, let's turn those spikes off. At the top, what we do is do a new layer. Let's go for black, bigger. Depth set to 0, which is what we want. Okay, so symmetry still on. We're going to want to do something kind of like that, but not so thick. So let's do a bit smaller. Try it one more time. Yeah, something like that, I think. Let's just turn those layers off so we can see what's going on. Right, let's just darken that. incredibly unsteady hands going on there. See how that looks. I'll mess that up. Let's see. You can't really tell it's alright. Okay, so then inside of that, let's do another layer. This time it's going to be an orange. And then let's go over that a couple more times. We'll probably go over the black a little bit as well, just so it doesn't have the orange over it. One more time. That. And then let's bring that layer above it. There you go, so you can't really see. We messed that up. Then we're going to have another layer. Change that to black again. Bigger. Let's turn steady stroke on. So how steady stroke works is by drag and click. You see it kind of helps you keep it a perfectly straight line. Make that a bit thinner. Something like that. Gonna go over that a couple more times. So the more I use this, the more I'm enjoying adding your materials and painting and everything. It's handling a lot better in 3D Coat than it is with like Marmoset. As much as I love Marmoset, it's like my favorite texturing software. This one is fast becoming one of my, if not my favorite one. Okay, let's turn those back on. Okay, so we're nearly done painting the main body. We've got a few little symbols to paint as well. Let's add another layer. Zoom in. So zooming, I should say, by the way, I'm holding Alt and then dragging in and out like that. And then to make the brush bigger, I'm holding Control and dragging left and right as well. So I should have said that to begin with. Right, let's get, it's like a yellowy some colour. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Zoom it in so we can get it just right. So this one is something like that. Then we've got like that. So we just want to go over those again. So let's say stroke off now. So it'll only go darker if you click to go again. So if I just sort of start, go over this, so I've clicked once. If I have to go over it a second time, it's not going to go any darker. I need to click again to sort of like do an extra level of colour to it. Okay. Okay, so we've got those details. To look, I'll bring my reference image over so we see what's going on. So we've got all these little symbols up here, we've got up here done. Right, we've got a few little bits to add up here. A little bit of green to add in here, and then it's just painting those little bits as well. So let's come over. Okay. Let's add another new layer. I'm going to give this a quick little save so nothing crashes. Well, I've got to say, I've not had any, touch wood, no major crashes with 3D Coat so far. So, with these holes, I intentionally did these inside of Fusion, but what you can also do is you can use, now I turned off, if I use a brush, and where is it, depth. Now you can actually cut into the model. I won't actually cut into it for real, it'll use shadows and things to make it look like it's cutting into it. So if I was to do that to like minus 50, take that hard brush, change that to like black, get the sort of size that we want. Now it's to click, so it needs to be about like there. You see it then looks like you've got into it. Now if you were to zoom in reality it hasn't. But it's kind of using depth perception to make it look like it has. So we want this to be, let's try that a bit more. Let's do like minus 100. How does that look? Yeah, that's a bit better. So let's go like 1, 2, 3, 4. And as before, let's just turn those layers off so we can see what's going on. So we can go darker. There you go, that's more like it. And then up here, we want to have some lines. I'm going to turn stay stroke on. I'm just going to come up like that. There. Oh, maybe not that one. Okay, just go over those again. Okay. Right, so those details are done. Last little bit in terms of the mask itself, I feel like there's a little bit of green we want to do inside of here. Right, let's turn off those spikes. New layer. Let's go to like green, change that depth to 0. How does that look? blue, white. Let's do a soft brush this time. That. Let's take that layer and move it down until we find it behind. There we go. I don't know if I like that actually. Let's just remove that. I think we'll probably leave that as that is. Okay. Let's now turn off symmetry. We're gonna come up here, create a new layer. Go back to symmetry back on. And we're gonna grab some blue. I hope now. Yeah, that's gonna start painting on there. Like that. I'm going to change to green. Turn off steady stroke, don't need it. Let's go to red. Then we want yellow. Then we're going to do some yellow up here as well. Okay, right, going to give that a quick save. So we're not far away, we've got to do those eyes still. Right. In terms of detail, I might have a look at those green bits again. I've not decided yet. Right, let's turn off everything except the eyes. Let's add a new layer. You see, it's quite quick. You're not adding quite a few more layers. Now we're going to have some emissiveness here now, so we're going to change this to use as emissiveness. Now, put over it, so it goes quite bright. You can then change the brightness of this as well. So we go to brightness here, type 50. So it goes quite a bit brighter. But for now, let's put it some smaller. Where are we? Brightness 40. I'm going to make that brush quite a bit bigger. Just put it over the whole thing. Like that. Right, we don't want yellow first. I should check the reference image. We want an orange first. Let's do orange first. Okay, then let's go to like yellow. But this orange didn't really turn orange, did it? Let's try this again. There we go, that's more like it. Then let's try yellow, make it smaller. I actually want green. Come even smaller. Let's try a new layer. Green now. There we go. That's more like it. Then we want yellow again. So that's then we want black. So that's new layer. Change that to black. Do a hard brush. That's what we want to do. Let's come around if we can do. Is there a brush for that? How does this? Let's try this. Oh, it doesn't look great, does it? Let's try. Okay. Let's do that, and then let's over that, then do the green again. Bring all that back. Now what we do want to do is make it so there's like wood texture underneath that as well. So let's again isolate that. We'll turn off all the layers that involve our eyes, to those. Onto materials. Go to fill. Make sure we got this camera based. Put that over. Like that. I've got that as a missive, which we don't want, so let's change that to standard blend. There we go, it's better. Let's move that. Let's see. At the top. Oh, there we go. That looks more like it. Okay, and then for these ones, let's just make sure. So best to use as a missive. So they're more glowy. Okay. Turn symmetry off for a second. So we're looking. So I think we're pretty much done with the texturing side of things. I'm still not convinced by putting the green on there, so I might actually just leave that as that is. Give that a quick save. Last thing I want to do, let's just, so you can jump over to render and see how it's looking. I can do click real-time render, so you get an idea. You can also play around with the kind of lighting you want to do. And then you can play around a bit more. With this, let's jump back over to painting. There you go, that looks more like it. I quite like the green. Green is like evilly looking. So you can play around without your environment library. Oh, sorry, your environment's light. Sorry, to see how you want it to look. I quite like that. I think that's quite dark and evilly looking. Right. Last thing I'm going to do then is start to add a little bit of like wear and tear and stuff to it. So again, what we can do is come to the top, add new layer, and under your smart materials there actually is loads of things. So if you come to like scratches, get your preview up, you get loads of different options for like scratches. See how they look. Some look better than others. There's also quite good. Where are we? Dirt options. That's quite a good one. That's a bit too much, maybe. Because you want a little bit, you want to be subtle, you don't want to be like too in your face with it. Bit too much. I don't like the mud one. That's how does that look? Good. So if we right click and where are we? Build entire layer. And then maybe we'll have a look how that looks with it. how that looks. Let's right click. Oh, that's quite nice actually. See, this is the bit where it's really funny. It's just adding loads of little scratches and wear and all sorts of stuff to it. Okay, let's have a look. Right, I think we'll stop there. So last little bit is just to set up to render. So as I said, into render now, put on real-time render, you can see how it's looking. You can play around exposure, so how bright you want the light to be compared to your image, bring it down to an all evil looking, and then environment lighting, something like that. And then everything else, just leave it as it is. Now, under settings, if you want to render it without a background, if you go to store alpha channel, that means it's going to render and just have your actual image and not the background, which is what you want. So we've gone OK, and then just click on render. So I'm going to put that to my desktop. Okay, so there we go. So we'll stop there. So hopefully you found that helpful and interesting. So it's the first time doing a Fusion video where I've then taken it into 3D Coat. As I said, it's price-wise, I think it was €2 for me for the year to have this for full-time education license. Even if you're not getting an education license, they will do, like, you can get unlimited learning. So you just, when you render it, you might get like a watermark on it or something like that. Definitely worth doing. I'm going to use it a little bit more. I'll do a few more tutorials on just how to actually use it anyway. But got any questions, leave a comment down below, or email design with Simon at outlook.com.